July 13th, 2024. A campaign rally becomes a crime scene in 8 seconds. A rooftop 400 feet away. A former president. A 20-year-old with a rifle. How did a line of sight this clear go unnoticed until it was almost too late? On that summer evening in Butler, Pennsylvania, Donald Trump was addressing thousands when shots rang out across the fairgrounds. The shooter, Thomas Matthew Crooks, had positioned himself on the roof of a manufacturing building just outside the rally perimeter. Trump survived with a wound to his right ear. One attendee, Corey Comparatore, was killed shielding his family. 2 others were critically injured. This wasn't just an attack on a candidate, it was a fracture in the system designed to prevent exactly this scenario, and the questions it raised about security, communication, and blind spots are still echoing today. Thomas Crooks arrived at the Butler Farm Showgrounds around 3 p.m., more than 3 hours before Trump took the stage. He carried a backpack and behaved like an attendee. Security noticed him lingering near the perimeter, but didn't flag him as a threat. At approximately 5:10 p.m., local law enforcement spotted Crooks with a rangefinder, a device used to measure distance. Officers radioed this information, but the message didn't reach Secret Service command in time. By 5:52 p.m., witnesses saw him climbing onto the roof of AGR International Incorporated, a building roughly 400 feet from the stage. 3D reconstruction showing line of sight from rooftop to podium with distance markers. At 6:11 p.m., as Trump spoke about border policy, Crooks fired 8 rounds from an AR-style rifle. A Secret Service counter-sniper team neutralized him within seconds. The entire shooting lasted less than 10 seconds, but the failure unfolded over 3 hours. Pattern. Break question. What would you have done if you saw someone on that roof? The FBI recovered Crooks's rifle, a DPMS Panther Arms AR-15, legally purchased by his father. Investigators found no manifesto, no clear political motive, and no evidence of co-conspirators. His online search history included queries for both Trump and Biden events. Witnesses reported alerting police about a man on the roof, but the timeline shows a breakdown in relay systems. Local officers were stationed inside the AGR building, but not on the roof itself. The building had been identified as a potential vulnerability in pre-event surveys, yet it remained unguarded. Infocard, confirmed versus alleged. Some security experts argue the Secret Service was stretched too thin. Others point to a failure of communication protocols between local and federal teams. There's debate over whether the rooftop should have been inside the security perimeter at all. Secret Service guidelines typically classify structures within 1,000 feet as part of the inner perimeter, but exceptions exist for logistical reasons. Source: Secret Service Protective Operations Manual, excerpts released post-incident. Why this roof fell outside that zone remains disputed. Sidebar: Inner perimeter, the secured zone where access is tightly controlled, typically extends 1,000 plus feet from the protectee. Questions also linger about Crooks' mental state and preparation. Corey Comparatore, a 50-year-old volunteer fire chief, threw himself over his wife and daughters when the shot. He died at the scene. The 2 other victims, David Dutch and James Copenhaver, survived after emergency surgery. Source: hospital statements, Allegheny General, July 15th, 2024. For the thousands in the crowd, the rally became a moment frozen in memory. Some described confusion, then chaos, then the slow realization of what had happened. Source: attendee interviews, Butler Eagle local coverage, July 14th, 2024. For Secret Service agents, it was an operational failure they'll carry for the rest of their careers. Visual, memorial photos of Corey Comparatore, family image approved for media use, flowers at vigil site. Think of security perimeters like layers of an onion. The closer you get to the center, the tighter the layers. But if one layer has a gap, the whole system is compromised. That's what happened here. A 400-foot gap where vision should have been sharpest. Metaphor adapted from security consultant Brian Michael Jenkins. This incident exposes a broader fragility in how we protect public figures in open-air settings. Unlike indoor venues with controlled access, outdoor rallies create miles of sightlines and thousands of variables. Technology helps, drones, sensors, AI surveillance, but human judgment still makes the final call. Source: Brookings Institution Analysis on Secret Service Modernization, July 2024. Legally, the shooting has triggered congressional investigations, internal Secret Service reviews, and potential policy